have asked, okay, well, if this happens to somebody, I don't know, is this folding their cards? Is this rolling over? I don't know. I mean, I think that I'm not exactly happy with the situation and the way it unfolded. I'm feeling a lot of hurt towards the organization. I'm feeling a lot of support from you all and from lots of other people. So thank you for that. And some folks have asked me, like, okay, well, does this mean that in every is this setting a precedent in every case where somebody kind of goes up against the international, they come down like a ton of bricks? Are we going to resolve this in the same way? And the answer is at least as long as I'm president and as long as this board is in office, our course of action may or may not be the same, but our approach will be the same. And that is that we will use all of the power that we have and all the leverage that we have and all the resources that we have and all the political clout that we have to push and advocate on behalf of our members until we get an outcome that they're happy with. And for some people, that outcome may have been pursuing to arbitration and pursuing board charges and really kind of continuing to fight the international union. For me, that wasn't the outcome that I was in my best interest. So that's the principle that we kind of took towards the settlement of the resolution of that situation. And I think I'll defer to Chris and Dion for a minute if you guys want to speak on behalf of kind of the folks who represented me in the local about it.
I feel like given the set of circumstances that we were involved in, this was the right move, being that he is on the executive board and he does have the type of job he has. I don't feel like we really gave up anything other than Patrick getting an extra week off for the holiday season. Actually.
Yeah, I agree with Chris.
So I'll pause there.
I don't have any questions. I mean, you and the rest of the committee were elected to represent our best interests. And if that was the decision the committee made and you made, then I support it 100%.
Okay.
I'm just curious, did anybody in the international ever acknowledge that they fucked up?
Can I answer?
I'm not going to answer that.
Chris will.
I would say that in the entire, I've been here 11 years, 12 years, whatever. Within my time working for this union, or union previous, I've never seen a grievance be responded to by the international officers within 1 day of it being filed. So I would say there was some pretty strong recognition of something occurred for that to happen.
But nothing official, nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just curious as far as like the Facebook thing. Evidently posted it on Facebook. Right? Was there any clarification as to what you can put on and what you can't put on? Obviously, they thought your opinion on a certain thing wasn't their view, I guess, or whatever. But I mean, I'm just wondering, like with rapid response, they want all locals to put up a Facebook page. You've been asking for this like a year and a half, and this is the exact reason why I never put one out there, because especially my situation, my butt's hanging out for half the time anyway. And I think they just were waiting maybe for me to post something on it, just to maybe be in the same situation Patrick was.
Well, I mean, listen, I think that, so we have a policy on social media. And this was the first time it was ever enforced in any way, shape, or form. And whether or not it was enforced in the appropriate way in this particular instance, I think there's probably some disagreement on the various sides of the table about that. Am I worried about people getting retaliated against for posting things on social media? And am I concerned about the fact that there is a level of unclarity? Is unclarity a word?
It is now.
There's a lack of clarity with at what point you're gonna trigger the social media policy. Am I concerned about that? Yeah. Do I think that we can have a constructive conversation with the International Union about our social media policy right now? I don't think so. I think that we at some point can have a constructive conversation about that. I think that even though we're in the process of moving on, there's still kind of a lot of feelings about this thing on both sides. So, at some point we're going to have to, dust that off and open up the conversation. If one of the things in social media policy is that you're not supposed to post anything that is broadly not in the best interests of the employer. Well, if you're U.S. Steel, right, there's a relatively narrow set of things that are not in the best interest of your employer. When you work for a social movement organization that has an opinion on just about every major social issue there is, that world becomes a whole lot bigger. And I don't know what the board would say about that wide view of the social media policy. Somebody wants to test it. Like I said, we'll support you. We'll use all of our resources and all of our clout to get to the outcome that to push it in the direction that you want to move it.
But I think that means they would use all of their resources the same way.
We got Ryan and
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Is there anything written on it, Patrick, that we as the members can see?
So in the manual,
On their policy?
yeah. There is a manual for representatives that has been distributed to all technicians. It has not been distributed to clerical employees, to my knowledge.
No, but we didn't say that.
So I would, if somebody in the clerical job classification wants to, test the policy, then, I think that we also could. Can somebody let Janet in? At some point they got to get around to before they enforce that policy with clerical employees. They've got to get around to actually communicating that with clerical employees. But the social media policy, I read it. We discussed it with the International Union. We bargained over the impact of it. So I'm very familiar. I'm familiar with it. This isn't a matter of me not knowing the policy existed. We can provide you all a copy of it, unless you would prefer we not provide you a copy of it, so you can say you didn't know about it. Now we'll go to Ryan.
So, being someone that fundamentally works inside of social media all the time, I mean, this is a constantly evolving beast, and this is something that I feel like we should actively address. And it should be made crystal clear, not only to technicians, but to everyone in this union. Because, I mean, frankly, like, it's going to be something that everyone is involved with moving forward. We're not going to get further away from social media. We're going to become further enveloped inside of it. And frankly, like the labor movement isn't going to survive unless everyone embraces it one way or another. So, I mean, having said that, I'd be happy to test the boundaries because, I mean, like it seems like with testing the boundaries, you get a week off of work. No, but like all jokes aside, like this should be something that we are actively addressing, and there should be written policy for everyone under the umbrella of this organization, not just the technicians.
Well, I mean, listen, I think that it's if people want to test it, folks can test it and can push it. Particularly, I would not encourage you to test it if you don't have something that I wouldn't encourage anybody to say something incendiary for the sake of saying something incendiary. If you got something to say and you're concerned about saying it, and you want to kind of push the boundaries, then have at it, and we'll support you. I think that given the current environment right now, today, it might not not create a really productive conversation about how to enforce the policy. I actually think we can have a good conversation. We can get clarity. We can do education with folks about okay, what is okay, what is not okay, where is the line, and we can create resources for people to to get more information, get more guidance about this, and we can even push and contest their guidance. I just think that 2.5 weeks after they brought somebody back who they suspended indefinitely, and it kind of threw a lot of the 12th floor into a tailspin for the 3 weeks before that, might not be the time that clear heads can really have a clear conversation. And we're going to have, if we have a conversation now, it's going to be an emotional conversation. And I think that you know how this organization operates when we're having emotional conversations.
Well, okay, so while we're on the topic of it, can we discuss specifically about your case and how the international may have dropped the ball in handling it for a moment, or do you time to kind of evolve on this?
I mean, we'll take like 2 or 3 more minutes, and then I think we got to keep going. But I'm happy to talk to folks about this.
So my concern is, like, part of the reason that you were disciplined is that, and you told me that, when you alluded to the human rights thing, the link was in the post. But once that's printed out, all you see is like a string of characters and code. You know what I mean? So someone that's making the decision to discipline you about something that you wrote isn't necessarily seeing that entire picture. And I think that's part of the problem. There should be standards in terms of how they're reviewing social media posts. And it can't just be like, one officer prints out a link and gives a piece of paper to Leo, because that doesn't necessarily, have all of the information that we all saw when it was up on the web. So, like, I generally think that there needs to be a degree of education that, isn't just for us, but for them as well. Because I think that there's a lack of fundamental understanding on how social media and all of these networks work.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they genuinely believe that I was disingenuous and that I misrepresented the position of the union in my grievance. And I apologize for hurting their feelings and for making the union look bad. But whether or not I mean, you saw the original post, you saw the grievance, you saw the statement, so folks can kind of make their own decisions, their own assumptions about what happened and how the situation transpired. Yeah.
Were you in opposition to what happened to human rights?
What?
When you said they thought that you were genuinely disingenuous about your whatever you posted, was whatever it was in opposition to what had transpired?
I called police unions racist cartels.
Oh, okay, never mind. Thank you. We're fine.
And they thought that I just called police unions racist cartels, and it wasn't connected to the Tamir Rice case. And then I said, because it's the thing I said about the Tamir Rice case, they told me to put up this disclaimer. And they said, well, your initial thing had nothing to do with Tamir Rice. Well,
Right.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry. I just wasn't completely in the loop of it. I mean,
yeah. All right. We'll move on from that. I'm happy to talk about this more with people. Actually, I'm not excited about talking about this more. I kind of like to move on with my life. But if people have concerns or questions, I would be happy to talk about it. I'd prefer you come to me and talk about it rather than talk about me about it.
Before we move on,
Yeah.
ask Ryan's question. Ryan, would you consider doing some type of social media lunch session for our local union so that
Sure.
we can understand better what you're doing? You could talk to us.
Absolutely. I'd like to wait until
that.
Molly gets back from the Harvard program in Boston. She's kind of like the de facto go-to person, But no, I think that that's a great idea. And I think that
Thank you.
Awesome. So things going on within the local that don't have to do directly with me. We're going to schedule the next round of New Horizons trainings. There's a poll out there. We're going to close out the poll over the weekend. So if you haven't indicated when you want to, when you're available and to take those classes, if you want to take them and which classes you'd like to take, you should do it now. Once we've scheduled the classes, there will be then another registration for actually signing up for the classes. We're definitely going to do a round of Outlook training. Probably we'll do Excel and Word. I doubt there's going to be a lot of appetite, or at least enough to class up for access. And just for, I know there's a lot of, there's some new folks that may not be familiar with this. So folks in clerical job classifications can take classes in Word, Excel, Access, and Outlook to earn up to a 3% pay increase for each Microsoft Office certification received, for a total possible increase of 9%. That's real money. And I would really, I would point out that some of the changes involved in the in our pension plan go into effect July 1st. And if I were you, I would want to, if I were clerical, I would want to try to juice my salary before then to increase my pension at the end of the day. 2000 annual report is out. People should have received it. We didn't print copies of it this year because we emailed it out and everybody said they saw it. We had heard there were some issues with Benny cards and getting money loaded onto Benny cards. Those are the cards you get for participating in the Red Birth Wellness programs. I thought the issues were widespread. We brought this up with the international yesterday at our HR meeting, and it seems like there were only a couple people who had participated in the program in the correct way, and the money wasn't on their cards correctly. And those folks are going to get their money on their cards by the end of February. Let me just ask by a show of hands: does anybody is anybody having problems with their Benny cards? Okay. Okay. Yeah.
When I went to use mine, I thought at the end of last year there was nothing wrong. But then it showed up this year. My understanding was Hannah said that really you don't put it in until January.
You don't get the rollover back until February.
Right.
So but on January 6th, you got your money for having participated last year. But on January 6th, you only get your money for participating last year. Your rollover, what you had in your account last year, doesn't show up until February 7th, 6th or 7th.
I got money at the end. There was money at a year ago that I used.
Yeah.
In 13, at the end of 13.
Yes.
And there was nothing wrong with it. Is that
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah, so because they rolled when they screwed it. Kim loved the program so much that he started it early, and it screwed up the accounting. So there were problems last year. So the way that the new year started last year is different than the way the new year started this year. So yeah, that.
If they put the money on your card and you had a card previously, would they have informed you, or did they only inform you if you got a new card? Like, I know some people got a card and a letter in the mail that said, okay, you got this card and there's money on it.
You won't get a new card,
Okay.
as far as I know. They just load it on your original card.
But they don't mention to you that. it's-
No, they don't. And I would keep track because I'm short the last 6 months of my tracking that we did, my husband and I. They didn't load that part on yet. I got my assessment and my $500 plus my first 6 months stuff, but I didn't get the second 6 months stuff.
Okay.
The question is, if they automatically load it and don't tell you, A, how are you supposed to know there's money on it, and B, how are you supposed to know how much money is on it?
Well,
You can go online.
You can go online.
You can check your card online, and I would recommend that. And I would
At the
Centennial Group. It's on the back of your card.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you think that the money that is on your card is different than the amount of money you have on your card, and the number is lower, then have a conversation with us, and we'll try to actually first call Jen Pfeiffer and yell at her. And if she can't help you, then talk to us, and then we'll yell at Jen Pfeiffer. So something that we're gonna try to get going sometime very, very soon is in the last round of contract negotiations, we expanded the organizing leave of absence program, and to create opportunities and a tiny financial incentive for people in clerical job classifications to go out and volunteer to participate in organizing drives. The organizing department insists that they're interested in having 3657 members participate in organizing drives when there are opportunities. That doesn't mean you can walk into Maria's office and say tomorrow and say I want to go on an organizing drive next week. But if you express interest, she says that she'll try to match you up with a campaign that would work for you. So to do a little more education about that program, sometime in the next couple of months, we're going to be organizing a training, a brief organizing training for people who are interested in participating in that program and volunteering to get out in the field and go organize. The EAP, so the Employee Assistance Program is just like, it should be this great program, and then if you're dealing with mental health issues, you've got legal problems, any number of problems you have, there's a number and a resource you can call. They've got counseling. They can hook you up with some free legal advice. It's something that's provided through Highmark as part of our insurance. It's a great program, but nobody knows about it in general. And what people do know about it is often the international, when someone who may be in a position to be disciplined, when they don't want to discipline that, when you go to EAP instead, and that stigmatizes mental health issues, and that's a serious problem. In EAP, had representatives, folks you work with that you can go talk to, help you identify what resources are available to you. The representatives who were representatives were
Ricky Moore and Tony Schuler.
Neither of whom are in a position to be representatives anymore. So we are going to schedule a training for people who want to be EAP reps in the building. And if there's anybody who wants to be an EAP rep, you should talk with Pam. You like that?
I see that.
See, it's in the report. You should talk with Pam. Oh yeah. Well, I got nothing.
I get it.
And then there's nothing really all that new from the human relations meeting. We'll provide a full report on that next month. Any questions on the president's report? The very long president's report. All right. Now for a special new feature of our local union meeting. It's going to be our staff rep report. Okay. All right. We have no staff rep report. Oh, we have a lot of new people. So we are kind of a steelworker local. We pay dues to the International Union, and we have every local union has a staff representative. We have a staff representative, Ross McCollum. Ross is out of US Steel, and he's actually a really great resource for us when the International lets us use him. But this is Ross. Feel free to meet him after the meeting if you get. Now, safety and health.
We don't have much to report this. We're trying to, I guess a meeting is gonna happen next week between Patrick and Diane anyway and Janet Hill so that they can actually do a walkthrough and of the bathrooms. We have all the bathrooms that were picked up were in non-compliant here in the building in terms of the ADA. And we have folks in our local and others more in our local buildings. We have better access. So we still have a problem with that, and we're bringing together the parties. And so we'll have a meeting next Monday. Anybody who would like to join?
Any questions? Women of Steel.
We have a small report. First of all, if you notice on there, I clearly don't know what year it is. The meeting is Monday, February 9th. February 12th is Thursday. Stephanie, Julie, and Lori have offered to help me get the committee back up and running. We have a conference coming up in March. It's the Crossroads Conference that we'll talk more about in the motion and will be posted on the website. And tentatively, we're going to have a chili cook-off in March and take the child work days in April. That's everything.
Rapid response.
Yeah, as you can see on the written report there, with the TPP, that's the big trade deal that's trying to go through, that's still ongoing, and Congress is still trying to push that through. And unfortunately, as you know, and I mentioned last meeting that President Obama said he's for it, basically. I mean, he's saying to enforce the rules and all that, but we've heard that kind of stuff before, and it goes through, and it's, basically, to me, it's nothing but using other countries' people for slave labor. Looks like to me. But if you go on the USW news breaks report, I think everybody gets in the building. Does that go out to all the locals?
I send it out to, it goes out to everybody in the districts, it goes out to our social members, it goes out to our USDA, it goes out to everybody.
Okay. That's a good thing, because, and I've noticed that you've had this on the action alert. If you scroll down on it, say no to fast track's been there for a while. And it's important to get on there because I think it brings you to, and correct me if I'm wrong, or it brings you to the AFL-CIO website. There's a petition on there where you can put your name on there. And I'd encourage you, if you haven't did anything with TPP, at least do that.
All right. Thanks, Andy.
Uh-huh.
Pack. New member committee.
The new member committee will be holding our first new member orientation of 2015 on February 10th in this very room, starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. And invitations have gone out to the new members that we have on our list. If somebody knows of someone who didn't get an invitation to come to the new member meeting, who indeed has been hired since February last year, please let me know. Make sure that they're invited. We'll also be live streaming out to the field with a couple of members out to the field, and I hope we'll participate. So that applies to the field also. If people know people who need to be included, please let me know. I also have a motion that I do that later.
Yep. Are there any new members in the room we should introduce?
Indeed.
March.
Yeah.
Indeed. Good point.
But I think I've been introduced.
The ones that I know of in and most of you know Sabrina, who is now with us in part-time and new member.
Rachel.
Rachel Nunes. Nunes. I always say Nunes, but that's Spanish pronunciation. And Rachel is now in social media.
She's with us in new media.
Yay, Rachel.
That doesn't count.
And Patrick, how can you just wait
We swear in permanent employees. Probation.
No.
I swear an hour.
We're gonna get to
Probation
it.
we swear in. Yep. And we welcome them now. Organizing committee. Fight Back Pittsburgh report.
So, I'm Nate, I'm vice chair of organizing, vice organizing chair. I apologize for the lack of a written report. I should do that next month and do a better job. But this has been a big month or so for Fight Back. We were erroneously credited with Chief Blaze pulling up the sign about challenging racism at work. That created such a hullabaloo. But we have been actually working with the Black Lives Matter folks, Julia Johnson, and we were, a lot of us were present, and we provided logistical support, including hand warmers for the Martin Luther King Day we're continuing work, despite the loss of our very good fellow, Rachel, out of the immediate department. We've hired a replacement fellow to continue her work, with, building, organizing, and creating spaces for, working women in the area of Rutland. And I don't believe they've started yet, but we'll be starting soon. We've also got some other big projects that are sort of incubating, but are not yet ready.
All right. Bylaws committee.
So the bylaws committee has the results of the survey. 29 people took it, which is actually 29 more than I expected to take it. The person who wrote it didn't even fill out the survey. So what the survey results tell us are people aren't really excited about the bylaws. They think a lot of people think they're hunky-dory, everything's working okay. There were a few comments though that I'm going to mention to you. I'm not editorializing in any way, I'm just telling you what people wrote. Some people think that we should clarify the meeting times in the bylaws. I think now they are actually set for 5 or 5:30 on the last Thursday of the month, but it's not 5 o'clock right now. There is a sentence right after that that says the executive board can change that if they determine it's necessary. So that was one thing. Quite a few folks think we should now strike the Communist Party language from people who are forbidding from membership. Not lumping them in with the KKK and fascists is ridiculous. One person commented that we need to define what positions within the E-board are to be delegates to the convention, rather than people trying to finagle themselves a free vacation to the constitutionally mandated pep rally. I'm not. That is. I'm reading exactly what was written. I don't know if there's.
Extra talent.
I don't know that division in the bylaws that well. The selection process. I know there's also comment here on that we should limit observers, because I think our local sent 2 to the last convention. I don't know if that's really something appropriate for the bylaws that was voted on, a motion was made and everything like that. I'm just telling you what was written. And there are 2 comments about the relationship between casual employees and our local, whether we should take dues from them. One person commented that in some way our contract actually makes their employment insecure. So I'm just telling you what was written on. So the committee, myself and Jenny Van Schindel had a conversation about this yesterday. We welcome your commentary, your thoughts on this, so we can actually revise it.
Thanks. Any questions for John?
Was there any elaboration as to how the contract makes employment casuals?
There was not.
Yeah, I'll take a point of privilege to speak to that. So this is kind of a in 2 rounds of negotiations ago, we implemented we won new language that limits casual service to 1 year. And after 1 year, the international can do one of 3 things. They can either hire the person as a permanent employee, they can decide to let the person go, or they can come to the local and ask for an extension of their casual service. And that's something that at the time was actually something that was pushed for by casual employees, because many of us were on casual. I was on casual for 4.5 years. And I know there's a lot of other people who did long tours of duty as casual employees. 3 years. Mike Zielinski was 7 years. Tina DeMeo was 12 years. So the thinking then was that we were by limiting that, we would push the international union to bring people on faster. And that's largely what's happened. We've not seen a big, other than it happening a little bit in organizing, we've not seen a lot of folks kind of get triggering that year in the international deciding not to extend them or to offer them positions. But the result has been people getting put on permanent status faster. for technicians. That means that's been folks being able to get their car allowance faster for clerical folks and everybody. That's been folks being able to get onto the full health insurance plan faster.
I think it's great. Like I was kind of a person John for that. Like I came right after that policy was put into place, and I mean I can just say it from personal experience. Like my wife was eliminated to know that like my casual status wouldn't extend past 1 year. And there was some sort of finality involved in the whole process. So I mean I don't really know where that person is coming from, but as someone that went through the casual situation for a year after that was put into the contract language, I think it's great.
But I mean, you know, that's something to talk about, as is the relationship between casuals and our local. I got strong opinions. I think some other people have strong opinions as well. Let's hear from the Civil Rights Committee.
January 8th, Jeremy and I attended the FL CIO training in Washington, D.C. on the massive population. The training was phenomenal. We had a chance to meet staff from all over the U.S. And the material itself was extremely compelling. I think one of the things that kind of spoke to me personally was they are in privatizing the jail system. It's a business. And so what they've done is they've started taking the test scores of third graders around the country to figure out where they're building their next prison center. So instead of taking that money and investing it into our education system, they're now seeing it as a profit, where if the test scores are low, they can guarantee that they'll be trying inside there. So it's things like that we learned in the training that was absolutely compelling. And of course, it affects many people of color. You know, when you watch TV and you watch some of the shows that are on, it's that. But the reality of it is not necessarily that they're committing all of the crimes. Everyone's just getting put in jail for it. We also we intend on bringing that training back, of course, to our local. Our committee is looking at planning that training not the first week of February, but on the second week of February, and offering it to the local. We've had invites from the district to do it, and Lisa and Guillermo attend some of our the FLCIO conference that they had was heavy still, and not just because we kind of did the transportation and health area, the logistics, but it's always heavy still. There's always a lot of us there present. But one of our brothers from District 10 saw the massive incarceration plan, moved by it. He sits on his executive board for his local, brought it to Bobby Mack, and he's asked Lisa if we can do it for him in the district. We've also, they're putting together a class in it's not at home, but it's actually in Pin Hills. It's going to be sponsored by the NAACP and 5A Elite and Pin Hills NAACP chapter, and 5A Elite is an organization there. The website is www.5aelite.com. And what they do is you see all these folks wearing these Black Lives Matter and this hashtag stuff. But what are we really doing, man, to answer what that call is? And I love what 5A is doing. They are working with younger athletes in the city and young high school and college kids to make them aware of what's happening and to try to mentor them and change their lives. So they're putting on an event, and they're trying to do it for the month, Black History Month. So they're going to do it February 28th, and we'll do a motion there. That's what we're hoping that will on January 11th, the Atlanta chapter, they had their Three Kings event. It was really good. No kid got hurt this year, so that was a good thing. Last year, Guillermo was busting a pinata and stick broke and hit one under the kid. So this year we didn't have a pinata, which worked out good. We just kind of placed candy in the bag. We didn't get a lawsuit and anything. Everything worked out great. There, we definitely want to help. I'm sorry, we want to thank the international and the local and the other affiliate local unions that have always helped in making this such a great success. I attended the DMOK celebration on behalf of the local. Richard Sermon was supposed to attend as well. Our communication with that failed with the civil rights community. We had no idea what was going on and what was happening with that. So I was the only person that was able to attend that. It was an incredible event, by far one of the best civil rights programs that I've been to. Each speaker that they had there was very relevant. They a lot of times when you're talking about union activity and our lives, everybody always talks about 1800, what we did back then. But they were able to take our struggle and make it very relevant for where we are today. To talk about it through social media and how we can bring back our communities. And when marching isn't enough, and I had a chance to teach the mass incarceration there. We got to volunteer and to do things like build houses and read to the kids and pass out books to over 350 kids got books on civil and human rights. And it was an incredible event. And once again, they were well represented in that. We will be asking, we will be requesting the EEOC report again so that we can do our report. I will have you know that that our report was shared at the MLK, as the FOCIO kind of shared the way they did, and so all of our unions like, oh, well, we did that too. This is what. Of course, I wish they had been so excited while we were doing it, and maybe we would have had some meetings with personnel and some other people about it. But they're excited about it now, hopefully. So so we will be asking that again. If they want to work with us, that's what we want to do. We're hoping that if they are willing to issue a joint report with us. I actually tried to print up. I actually did. I printed up another copy of this report because in my efforts to, we have 4 guys on our committee, and we have 8 sisters now on our committee. And in our discussions and conversations, they always remind us that women issues are also civil and human rights issues. We have Sister Janet, who's on our committee, who's always advocating for food and the civil rights committee, helping her in that effort. But I wanted to do it in an open apology to the women of Steel and to the efforts of Pam and our sisters who are working on that, Lori and some of the other ones. In this, I said that the Civil Rights Committee was helping to revive the women of Steel and final news are trying to do that. It was me trying to rush. You guys don't understand. I got like 50 emails from the Lord, like, where is your report? Where is your report? Where is your report? So in my haste to get that to her, to get her off of my back, I didn't take concern to what I wrote. So please started from my head and not out my heart. On private work, they have become official. They are in official chapter. One of our own is on.
Doug, can we
wrap it up?
Yeah, move it a little faster.
So sorry about that.
Okay.
We now have a private work. I'll only give you guys 10 minutes. I'm sorry. We're also working on the CBTTU. And we're in the process of planning our next training on the institutional racism. And we found a presenter that we met in DC to do our diversity training. And we're also putting together events about the month of February. We want to welcome 3 new members. This is Yesenia from District 13, Great Britain, and Janine Hogan from Account. Thanks.
Hey, Doug, you still didn't give me your other report on your conferences.
Okay.
Another email.
All right. Fundraising and recreation.
Nothing right now.
Grievance committee.
Really nothing. We did meet yesterday with the attorney that we have gotten to handle the
grievance we had, that was a 5-day suspension without pay for one of our members. So we're moving forward with that, and the only thing, I don't normally say who files the grievances, but Patrick's been open about, his grievance on the US policy on social media, and as he said, that grievance has been withdrawn.
And just to be clear, that was withdrawn because the post that it was about was down, so it was a moot point, so we're gonna have that conversation at some point in the future.
Any questions?
All right, any old business?
No,
Any new business?
yes.
A lot.
USW District 10, 2015 conference, 8/3 through the 6th, for 2 lodge registration, 190 rooms, 229.
Okay, we are recommending that we send 2 people from the building and 2 people from the field with lost time and expenses. Email Lori by March 15th. And we're recommending that because this is kind of like a, it's a new day, District 10, we got a new director. For the first time in anybody's memory, the District 10 conference is actually in District 10 and not in Atlantic City, so we think it's an exciting opportunity. So that is our recommendation if anybody wants to make that motion. Lepley. So moved. Is there a second? Second. Josh, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
District 10 Women's Steel Course, London Hall, 4/19 through the 23rd, registration is 500, deadline is 3/31.
Our recommendation is send 1 from the building and 1 from the field. Email Lori by February 15th. Does anybody want to make that motion? RJ? Anybody? Second? Zach? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2015 dues, 100 for 100 members, 90 cents per member open.
Yeah, at some point we made a donation to the Philadelphia Project on Occupational Safety and Health. But we don't have anybody in our membership who is actually in Philadelphia, so we recommend no action. Is there any discussion on that? Okay.
All right, Crossroads Conference, 3/10, registration 125, 1 grand.
We recommend sending 2 people with lost time and expenses. Email Lori by February 6th, and that those positions will be chosen by the Women of Steel Committee. Yeah.
Okay, Pam, you wanna do it for me, please?
I'll put a piece on the website about it, but it's really an interesting conference with multiple classes to it about women in the workforce and the changes that they deal with. And Civil Rights found the conference, I didn't, but it's a great concept.
It's being organized by the Women and Girls Foundation, and there's a lot of different local organizations that are partnering with it.
It's a 1-day conference, it's 8 to 5, with multiple speakers, coffee breakouts, lunch breakouts.
Do we have a motion yet? Is there a second? Janet? Carol. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed?
All right, email request from Andy Zimaglia to send a rapid response computer training here in the building, 2 different days with lost time and expenses.
And to clarify, it's one of the 2 days.
The 13th.
Right, the 13th. We recommend sending Andy with lost time, and I don't think there's expenses because it's here.
No.
Lost time.
And that's at the,
We got a motion. Got Bill. Stack's got the motion. Bill's got the second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries.
All right, motion for travel expenses to cover the top officer from the field to attend up to 12 times a year for local union meetings and or other local union business.
Now we're getting into our annual motions. In the past, we just continued paying things year after year after year without having a conversation about how we're spending our money, which is, we think, a problem and possibly not constitutional. But either way, we want to have a conversation about how we're spending all of our money. So the next several motions are things that are kind of recurring expenses that happen every year. This is last year the motion was to send Dion to Pittsburgh up to 12 times a year. That's all of our local union meetings or to deal with other things. We have elections, so it'd be presumptuous to say, to send Dion to Pittsburgh up to 12 times a year, but the board recommends sending our top officer from the field here to attend our meetings or other local union business. Zach, is there a second? RJ, is there any discussion?
Yeah, so is 12 enough? Because weren't we going to try to send one of the top officers to various conferences in different districts as well? I mean, wouldn't it make sense to include that into?
That's kind of two different things.
Yeah, because I mean
That's local union business. So I mean,
oh, but this gets the top officer here.
okay.
So we'll have other
different ones
motions
for
to get
sending them
people
to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as they,
Yeah,
as they come
as they
out.
come in.
This is just a way to address it in one lump sum. We don't have to worry about it each time.
All right, motion for flowers.
We got to vote on that. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion for flowers or $50 donation to a charity for members who have had a death in their family. Follow the guidelines set forth in current CBA for bereavement leave.
All right. Is there a motion for this? Is there a second? Bev has a second. All right. Is there any discussion?
People are laughing because
All those
it's
in
2
favor?
years old.
Any opposed?
2 years old.
Those of you who are new, this was the most hotly debated
Issue.
in the history of our local. We moved past it. All right.
Let's go.
All right, motion for 1 year store dues, $12.50 for as a retirement for gift for retirees.
We recommend paying store dues. Okay. Sherry, second. Leslie, any discussion?
That's just for the first year.
First year. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, motion for PO box rental for the year up to $200.
We recommend paying for a PO box.
So moved.
Josh, a second. Janet, any discussion about our PO box? All those in favor? Any opposed?
All right, motion for Fight Back Pittsburgh donation up to $250 a month, up to $250 per month.
So this is something we started doing in the middle of last year, contributing $250 a month to Fight Back Pittsburgh. So they didn't come to us every month requesting funds for this or that or the other thing. And one of the kind of some questions have come up about whether or not that makes sense. We do have a lot of excluded members who pay dues to our local just because they want to support the work of Fight Back Pittsburgh and support the working community. So it's actually even giving them $250 a month is a money maker for us. So we support continuing that practice. Zach,
I'll make that motion.
is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that?
I just want, what are they using the grant for? What is it?
So the grant money, we've only received one grant, Workers Marks grant. That funds one fellow for the 6 month duration of the grant for 40 hours a week at $50 an hour to put together programs, story shares and large events around women in the workplace. Rachel wrote this, so she talked about it.
But just to be clear, this does not pay for that.
No, this is a foundation that gave us money to fund that work, and that's separate from that.
Disclosure of what is that for each month? Well, yeah, does anyone else have one? Does anyone else have one and it may just go out of law?
So, of course, the Pittsburgh does produce a financial report, actually financial analysis for Pittsburgh every month. There's a full disclosure of money and the amount of money spent. biggest expenditures that we've had in the past few months have been, you spent several $100s on hand warmers for, the various Black Lives Matter, day events that have been called hand warmers. Right up in those areas. The other big expense that we've had, up until recently was we operate a worker justice hotline where we have Google ads, where people are searching for like retaliation or harassment or whatever. Our ad pops up, hey, you can call us. And so we have to pay, for a while we were paying for that, so revamping that program, so that money's not going anymore.
But just to be clear, none of that is done with the grant money. The grant
Yes,
money
grant
solely
just
pays
for-
for an employee,
Yeah.
and we account for that separately, and we make
As far as
reports.
other sources of funding go, most of the funding is dues from the associate members who are members of White Veterans.
One of the other things is that this 250 is also meant to kind of, in lieu of us, those of us who are activists from our local, who attend Fight Back Pittsburgh, we can get involved there in lieu of us also paying dues, so we're not paying double dues. So it subsidizes our activism in a good way, helps us.
And okay.
Any more discussion about this? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, motion to authorize the grievance committee and executive board to retain appropriate counsel at a reasonable cost if needed to adequately represent our membership in grievance and arbitration.
So this has come up a couple times in recent history where we've had grievances on deck to go to arbitration. You know, ideally, we'd like to be able to have our staff representative help us out with arbitrations. But in cases where the grievance, and there actually is one case right now where the grievance is not exactly happy with the likely outcome of the arbitration, and is concerned about having a bad outcome. If we get slapped for the duty of fair representation case, and our staff rep, who is an employee of the International, tried the arbitration against the International while he was working on behalf of the International for a local of the International that employs the employees of the International, then the labor board's head is going to explode, and that's going to be a bad situation. So rather than doing that, we just want to hire a competent lawyer. We've actually had a hard time in the past finding somebody willing to take our cases because of the monopoly of the USW in terms of hiring labor lawyers in town. But Amanda Bundick, who's actually a member of Fight Back Pittsburgh, and is a local labor lawyer, is happy to represent us and is perfectly competent. So we want to be able to hire her when we've got grievances on arbitration where we need legal advice. So we support this motion.
So,
Josh? Brittany? Second, any discussion?
Brittany, what's your last name?
Murray, M-U-R-R-A-Y.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
aye.
Any opposed to us not getting sued? Motion carries.
Wait,
All right, motion for $50 a month for a conference line so we get,
What?
opposed to us not getting sued, so you want us to get sued?
No, opposed to us not getting sued. Nobody's
It's a double
opposed to us not getting
negative,
sued.
It's a double.
Double negative.
Confusing.
Yeah.
Keep going.
all right, motion for $50 a month for a conference line so we can get a subscription to Maestro, which will let us set up a separate line for conference calls.
We got a bit of a problem in that we have like a gazillion committees that are doing a lot of different things all often at the same time. And when we've had conference calls, sometimes we've had conference calls overlap at the same time. We're spending sometimes up to $100 or $150 a month on our current conference line. A new system is $50 a month, and it allows us to set up separate secure lines for every committee or group that needs to have a conference call. So we support doing this. Janet?
I'm making a motion.
Second, Brittany. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to approve fellowships once a year for up to $25 per member as approved by the board.
So this is something that we have done as a matter of practice. Every year we have we got our summer picnic, we've got our holiday luncheon in the field. They, when they get together for district conferences, they get together and have a dinner. We reimburse about $25 a person. Typically, we do the motions one at a time. You know, we do the approval one at a time as it comes in, and that kind of gums up our meetings. So we figured we would just, since the pro forma motion, we just say, if folks are gonna do their regular fellowship thing, we'll pay for it, and we talk to the executive board. So we recommend this motion. Carolyn, Jerry, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to authorize a new member committee to spend up to $375 for lunch for the new member orientation on February 10th. Participating members in the field will be reimbursed for up to $15 upon submitting receipts for lunch on February 10th.
Even though some of us didn't get our lunch when we were new members, we never got oriented, or most of us, we think it's a really, really good thing, and we recommend buying our new members lunch. RJ? Is there a second? Zach? Is there any discussion?
Can we, is there a way for us to document this process, and use that as a model for other locals? Because I hear out in the field how locals get screwed, and it goes into this thing about members not fully, especially young people, not understanding the benefit of the union, not being involved in the process, and then there's all this confusion and shit. So anyway.
I'm going to defer to the new member committee about that. I'm uncomfortable with explaining the internal workings of the International Union as a training tool for our
I think you'd
members.
be stepping on education too.
And showing all of our crazy dirty laundry. We got a motion, it's been seconded. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, request from PA Fair Trade Coalition for support for 2015 in the amount of $1,500.
Yeah,
Repeat that.
that's what we
Yeah,
said.
they got a little crazy this year.
So the letter requested $1,500. Historically, we have supported the PA Fair Trade Coalition. They do good work. We don't think that giving $1,500 is a good use of your money. We recommend giving them a $500 donation. Billy? Is there a motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. Steffi? Is there any discussion?
I just want to speak in support of this. I think that this trade stuff is really critical for us to work on, and they're not doing a marvelous job, but they are carrying a message through Pennsylvania to our locals. I would support going higher than this, but if there's a lack of will in the membership to support that trade, I understand, but I think the work is really important that they're trying to do, and it's really only locals like ours that get it, and you know, I support the work.
All right, we got a motion, we got a second. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Apparently not enthusiastically. Doug? Do you want to make a motion?
Yeah. We can make a motion, the Civil Rights Committee is asking for the local to donate up to $500 for a per individual, and they are asking us to offer the massive population for February 28th, from 1 to 3 o'clock to get Lincoln Park. Community System Centers will be hosted by the NCP, Ken Hill's president, Deb Davis. They give you check on 11 to cover it. You can look at the numbers there. They're an outreach, they provide services to the community. And it's available in the Blackridge, trying to cut off homework from the rest of the community. And they even provided 500 churches, the local school in that area.
Okay, there's a motion, is there a second? Seconded? Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries. Is there any other new business? What?
I did one.
I have. Any good welfare? RJ?
Just that next month's meeting will also be in this meeting. Apology for all the confusion on that.
What's it, RJ?
I wanted to make a note, in the treasurer's report that, we should, be sure to get in touch with AFL-CIO, because they offered a $50 discount to all steel workers. So to get in touch with them, we'll make sure we get our $50 back for, the registration for the MLK.
Did you receive an email for that? Or did you just file it? Yeah, an email.
It's a long, lengthy process, but it was in a discussion in some meetings that we had.
So who do we contact for it?
I'll shoot you the contact.
Thank
All
you.
right. Okay, any other good welfare? Motion to pay all bills? Jamal? Jerry? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion to adjourn? Josh, RJ, all those in favor? Any opposed?